So yesterday I did a video about Kate Cox, a mother out in Texas who is in need of an abortion. She has a deadly genetic condition, and the child isn't going to make it. It's threatening her life now, and she may never be able to give birth again. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has stepped in, and he said that he will prosecute any doctor that tries to assist Kate Cox. If you've not saw that video, it's here on my channel. It's called Ken Paxton and the Kate Cox story. Go check that out. But today's story is about a woman out of Kentucky who is remaining anonymous. She's being referred to as Jane Doe at the moment, and she's filed a lawsuit against Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron. She's 8 weeks pregnant. Planned Parenthood, the ACLU, is working with her in this suit, which will focus on the right to privacy and to self-determination, to block the government from making decisions about a person's sexual reproductive matters. Now, this woman said this in a quote. She said, "This is my decision, not the government or any other person's. I am bringing this lawsuit because I firmly believe that everyone should have the ability to make their own decision about their pregnancies." Now, I know what a lot of people are going to say. They're going to say, hold on a minute, Brando, this isn't an extreme case. She didn't say her life was on the line. This isn't like Kate Cox. She's just saying that she should have the right to do it and that the government shouldn't have any say in the matter. And to that, I would say, yeah, she's absolutely right. She doesn't have to have an extreme case. This doesn't have to be a life or death situation. This is a decision that she should be able to make, and the government should not be in control of it. Yesterday, I talked about how people love to get bent out of shape over things and all the culture wars they like to get caught up in. I also talked a lot about how that people will say, oh man, these extreme cases, they're not really happening. They'll let women have an abortion if they really need one. And I'm like, no, they won't. These things are really happening. Well, here in Kentucky, we have a woman who's saying, no, listen, the government doesn't have a right. This is my decision and no one else's. And she's right. It's not the government's decision. It's not the church's decision. It's not her pastor's decision. It's not her mom and dad's decision. It's not her aunt and uncle's decision. It's not some random dude on YouTube's decision to make. It is her choice and her decision. The government should stay out of these things, and the churches should sure as hell stay out of these things. And here's the kicker. When you go into government and you find out the lawmakers who are pushing this shit, ask them why they're pushing it. And the minute they start quoting the Bible to you, the minute they start saying, well, we believe this is what we stand for in our church, anything they say from that point forward should be absolutely invalid. It's meaningless, because the church should not have any say in government. Politicians should not make their decisions about other people's rights based on what their Bible says, because at the end of the day, it is their interpretation of that book. You have to make your decisions based on data and research, based on facts, and based on real evidence, not someone's interpretation of a book that has been edited more times than any book in human history. Not someone's interpretation of a book that was written by men who didn't know where the sun went at night. We are allowing people in government to make decisions based on their interpretation of a book. And that should actually scare the shit out of you if you've got a voice of reason inside of you, because there is a lot of sick and twisted stories in the Bible. Okay, there really are. I know there's some good things. I know Jesus Christ said some good things that made you feel warm and fuzzy inside. But there is also a whole lot of disturbing stories that when it gets into the hands of lunatics, crazy shit can happen. I'm going to be doing a whole series of videos and content on a documentary I watched called Let Us Pray. If you've not saw it, it's on HBO Max. I'm going to be talking about it later in other videos. But when that book got into the hands of men like that, they unleashed abuse like you've never seen before in this world. And it should make anybody sick to their stomach. We don't need these people to be in government dictating anyone's lives based on their interpretation of that book. So when people says, well, I think the government should have a say. Okay, if you believe the government should have a say, go to the politicians. Go to Daniel Cameron in Kentucky. Go to Ken Paxton in Texas. Ask them why they're taking the stand they're taking. And when they tell you why they're taking the stand they're taking, if at any point they quote to you the Bible, if at any point they say, well, it is my belief, then, buddy, stop talking. That book has no place in government, and the Constitution says so. You have the right to believe in it. You have the right to worship however you choose, but the government does not have to respect that belief at all. And neither do I, and neither does anyone out there. These stories are only going to get worse. And it's easy to say, well, okay, Brando, I'll give it to you that the Kate Cox story is extreme, and yeah, she should be able to have it, and yeah, that's bullshit that they're interfering. But now hold on a minute, Brando. That woman out in Kentucky, she ain't got no excuse. Yes, she does. It's nobody's business but hers. That's the moral of the story. It's no one's business. It's not your business. You can weigh in on it. You can have an opinion about it, but you shouldn't be the one making that call. Any dude out there watching this video right now can walk into his doctor's office at any given point and ask for a vasectomy, and they'll say, sure, they'll schedule it, they'll do it for you, no questions asked. Because it's a man's world. So all I can say is the same thing I said at the end of the Kate Cox video to the ladies out there. Just please get out and vote and try to. I know you're having to put up with a bunch of bullshit with your husband at home. I know he's sitting there bitching about a culture war, but go to the polls and hit and vote for the people that's going to stand up for you. Because at the end of the day, it's nobody's business but yours.